Hi, this is Abby with Happy Little Mystic, and welcome back to your free self-paced tarot course. Today's lesson will be all about card number 9, the Hermit. If you missed our first few lessons in the tarot deck, you can check out the playlist link in the description box below. And if you're following along with our tarot workbook and you open up to the Major Arcana section in the very beginning, you will find a place to record all the information needed to fully understand the Hermit card today. All right, let's get started. So when we first look at the Hermit card, one thing we'll want to note is the colors that have been used in the imagery. They're very subdued or neutral. They're representing stillness and introspection and a bit of mystery. So we have our grays and our very muted blue here with some white. So the Hermit in the center of our card is depicted by an old man, and this is symbolizing the archetype of the wise elder, depicting wisdom, maturity. He's in a soul-searching posture here. The Hermit is representing a seeker using his lantern to guide him. He is representing a guide or a teacher, not only for himself, but for others once he's found the truth. The Hermit is using a staff here, and that is to symbolize support and authority, the spiritual grounding. It's providing this guidance on uncertain terrain. The Hermit's cloak, this gray, muted, neutral color here, this is symbolizing protection, humility. It allows the Hermit to blend in and go unnoticed. It hides his identity. It's almost like an invisibility cloak. It's allowing him to trap away his ego, to go unnoticed, to find himself within. The icy mountains here are depicting that he's gaining perspective in solitude. He's up there by himself. He's looking down, has this bird's eye view. He's able to zoom out and find this spiritual elevation on top of the mountain. We'll notice here that the Hermit is holding a lantern, and inside the lantern is a 6-pointed star. And this has been noted to depict the seal of Solomon or the Star of David. And it's representing that spiritual wisdom, unity of opposites, and divine light. He's using it to show the way. The lantern is symbolizing illumination, inner guidance, and divine truth. And you'll notice it only lights the next step for the Hermit. So he doesn't need it to see the whole path in front of him. He just needs to know the next right step. And the lantern's able to provide that support for him. So if you're following along in our notebook, in the Zodiac signs section, we'll want to note that the Hermit is tied to the planet of Mercury. And that's when Mercury is all about that inward focus or seeking truth through observation and discernment. Mercury is tied to the zodiac sign of Virgo. And Virgos can be very analytical, hardworking, and patient, which is exactly what the Hermit is doing here. He has climbed to the top of the mountain. He is standing on his own. He's in deep reflection and thought, finding the answers within. If the Hermit shows up and you've asked a yes or no question, the answer is a maybe in this case, and that would be our first maybe so far in the tarot deck. The Hermit is a pause card, so maybe or not right now would be his answer. And that's because he's reminding us that sometimes it's important to stop what we're doing, pause and reflect, take that time. We can't always be the Chariot. We can't always be the Strength card. And moving forward, we need to then sometimes pause, take some time to go into deep thought and introspection. If the Hermit card shows up in the upright position, the keywords are going to be wisdom, remember that wise elder, solitude, seeking inner truth, and reflection. I like how his pose here is looking down almost within himself. He's not actually looking up into the spiritual heavens. He's finding his answers within. The overall big picture or general meaning in a reading, if the Hermit shows up, it's telling us to listen to our inner wisdom, spend time alone in solitude. If the Hermit shows up, it's telling you that it's necessary to do that. And in order to find that healthy balance, we all know that sometimes it's important to take the inspired action and go, go, go. And other times it's important to stop and sit and spend time alone. So finding that solitude is necessary and healthy at times. The Hermit is reminding us that it's important to sometimes get away in order to restore our energy so that we can be the best versions of ourselves. So, going into that Hermit mode is necessary and helpful in restoring that energy. If the Hermit shows up in a career or finance reading, it's reminding us that working alone rather than collaborating with others is best at this time. You don't need other people's permission to connect to your own intelligence and intuition. The Hermit is a reminder that sometimes it is necessary to go and do things on your own rather than looking to others for that external validation or teamwork. If the Hermit shows up in a love or romance reading, it is also indicating that time alone is best right now. You need space to connect with your inner self and your personal truths. The Hermit could be indicating that it's time to take a break or at least give yourself some space in the relationship so that you can become closer and stronger. So in your relationship, you're only ever as strong as each individual. So sometimes it's important to break free and find that inner strength through introspection and solitude so that you can therefore rise together. In the other section, I have noted that when the Hermit shows up, it's telling us that you're deep in the process of finding yourself. You're soul searching and you're finding that inner truth. You can do this through meditation, long walks. Getting lost in your thoughts is important, as long as they're not the repetitive, intrusive, negative thought process. Getting lost in your thoughts can be helpful. Moving on to the numerology section, the Hermit is number 9. And 9 is all about nearing completion, solitude, and compassion. 9 is a humanitarian number, and it talks about idealism, service to yourself and others, having that selflessness and spiritual enlightenment. And it's interesting because when we think of going into Hermit mode and completely blocking out others and finding that solitude, you may not look at that as being selfless. Some may look at that as being a selfish thing, because you're only dealing with yourself. But remembering back to the whole idea of why we go into Hermit mode is to become our best self. And when we are our best self, that is the most selfless thing we can do. It's that whole idea of the rising tides lift all ships. So if we can rise up and restore our energy and be our best self, we can help others rise as well. Similar to the wise elder archetype here, once we learn our inner truth and restore our energy, we can then teach others the way. We can guide them. We can be the light and the dark for them. So number 9 is a very selfless number. If the Hermit shows up in reverse and you're choosing to read reversals, this could indicate that you're feeling lonely. Maybe you've been in Hermit mode for too long and it's time to come out. The Hermit in reverse could also indicate that you have a fear of being alone and a refusal to look within. It could tell us that we may be ignoring our inner guidance at this time and that we need to pause and take time to go there to find our inner truth. If you have been in isolation for too long and the Hermit shows in reverse to tell you that, the advice here is to reach out for support and connection. It's telling you that it's time to come back out, come back down from the mountain, share what you've learned. You're ready to join the world again. For the connections to other cards section, I have noted the connection to the High Priestess card. We'll notice they have some similar colors. They both have to do with mystery and inner wisdom. The Hermit and the High Priestess are both keepers of inner knowing. She does it through her intuition, and he is doing that through introspection. So he's seeking the answers through solitary spiritual study. Another connection I'd like to make is to the Magician card. So the Magician is all about doing. So going for it, you have everything you need, take that inspired action. And when we get to the Hermit, he is more about being. So the Hermit stands at the top of this mountain alone, not for power, but to gain insight. He's above the noise in the sacred silence. So while the Magician tells us to do, the Hermit tells us to be, embrace it. If we remember back to the Fool's journey in our first lesson, when the Fool meets the Hermit teaches him all about wisdom, solitude, and that inner search He encourages the Fool to find truth within by sitting alone. And it's interesting here with these white cap mountains behind the Fool. It's almost as if he's journeyed all the way to them. And when he gets to the Hermit, he's arrived on top of them. In the personal insights and reflection section, I have noted that the Hermit represents the sacred pause. It's like hitting that pause button, taking a break. He's showing us a soul that has climbed the mountain of life and now turns inward to find what external success cannot offer. So he's done all the things, he's made it to the top, and now he's choosing to look within to succeed internally rather than externally. He carries the light of truth here, but he's walking alone. And that reminds us that truth is often found in silence. And now we'll look at some other tarot decks and how they relate to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Starting with Radley Valentine's Guardian Angel Messages Tarot. He's depicted the Hermit as a younger man on top of these rocks here on top of the mountain. The words here we have are introspection, self-discovery, and mentorship. And I love the mentorship here. It's a reminder that the Hermit can be that teacher, that guide. He's holding a similar lantern and has the cloak that's hiding his identity. And again, the muted colors here are telling us it's all about reflection and introspection. It's not flashy. It's not trying to get the attention of everybody. It's a time to be alone. It's very nice. My other Radley Valentine deck, the Angels Tarot cards, shows card number 9, the Hermit, as Archangel Raziel. And it says here, spend time in quiet meditation, spiritual teaching, and self-discovery. I love here that Archangel Raziel has the lantern dangling down here and all these beams and spritz of light just shooting off the lantern. There are planets all around him. And Archangel Raziel is depicted as a wise elder with his cap, still muted in color, but not the gray cloak that we see in the original. He's holding his cane here for support, very similar to our original deck, to help guide him. And I like how he's kind of, his body language here is showing that he is looking for just that next step. Very nice. And lastly, I have the Wild Reflections Tarot deck. And this card depicts the Hermit as a young female finding her inner wisdom through meditation in the forest. In place of her lantern, I like the symbolism here. It's almost as if she is the lantern. So she is meditating and going within, bringing the light out and sharing it with the world here when she's ready. She could be on top of a mountain here in the forest, definitely by herself in that inner solitude. Beautiful. Okay, so these are the cards I have for the Hermit. In our next lesson, we'll be going over card number 10, Wheel of Fortune. All right, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.